everybody. Welcome to our Healing Voices podcast and YouTube channel. Today is episode 13, and I'm really excited to have my brother, Victor Javier Irizarry, here with me today. And we're going to have, I'm just looking forward to our dialogue, looking forward to our conversation. So really appreciate you being here. Those of you who are brand new to the Our Healing Voices podcast or YouTube channel, what the vision is for those of us that are engaged in this body, mind, spirit, wellness, evolution, consciousness raising, whatever you want to call it, just that we're able to realize that we're not the only ones on that journey, you know, that whether we're engaged with meditation or, you know, a yoga practice or art therapy or what, all the different possibilities, so many modalities out there of wellness expansion. Just to know that we're not the only one doing the work, not the only one diving in. So the goal of this podcast is for us to just realize, like, wow, there are people in all walks of life engaging with life, you know, and I think that's ultimately what, you know, one of the calls back, even as you and I were talking beforehand, is just how do we really engage with life, you know, in a new way. I think that ultimately, I think that's what all these modalities are about anyway, is like, how do we live here now, you know? And so I'm just really also excited about the opportunity to hear voices and to get to hear your voice today. And those of you who are listening, your voice is crucial, is critical, is so important to the expansion here on this earth. For us to all grow and heal together. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive in a little bit and start with, you know, first off, big gratitude. As I said to you, you know, via our emails and texts back and forth, is every time I'm around you, I'm like, yeah, you just want you to stay here. I don't like, you sure you got to go? You know, like I know that you and I, and we were just talking about our buddy Adam, you know, it's like, I know the three of us, but even just you and me, I know that we could literally spend a week together and just like really enjoy connecting in our conversations. I always enjoy what you share. I'm inspired by your creativity. Like when I see what you're creating online and whatnot with your comic books and just your creativity, like, inspires me. It's that it inspires that spirit where it's like, okay, like, what, Aaron, what do you want to create? You know, like when I see you creating and you know, just taking, it's just beautiful. So that combined with just your presence and warmth, I just really enjoy being with you. So I was like, let's chat and let's, I want to get to know you better. You know, I mean, I think that's a big part of this this desire to get to interview you. So, so let's start with, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself. First off, like present day, like where are you presently? What are you up to? What's kind of filling your days in this new world we're all living in? Well,
well, first of all, I have to say something that when I showed my wife, Sarah, who's your friend forever, like, you know, that's how we know each other.
Yes.
For 12 years or more. She's like, oh, Javier, you're the soul friend, and I am just a friend. What the heck? So she got a little jealous there. So you gotta make up for that.
Oh my goodness, your wife is freaking amazing.
I am a lucky guy. I love her.
You are a very lucky man.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. Today's world where I am, I have evolved a lot. Like, things have changed, completely unexpected. You know, a little bit of almost timing, like the right timing for me, because I was living a life that was pretty rushed. I mean, very stressed. Literally looking like I'm like go, and then shuts down. Like, I just went through a couple of those, and I remember in 2017, I went through a major shift a lot of personal things were happening in my family. Hurricane Maria happened in Puerto Rico, so that was major strain, and we can talk more about it maybe later. But um, the my mind just I got developed anxiety, like I was having all kinds of emotional constraints. I had a good mentor, buddy, friend at work at the time that died that year unexpectedly. He was 60 years old. Um, he used to sit next to me. So that made all of that crammed into one moment. I think I remember going to Carlsbad to visit. We were staying in Oceanside at the time. Um, and that's how I deal with stress. We go to the ocean and I'm like reconnect with the ocean. Um,
Mhm.
but so kind of that stress put me into like I need a break, and then fast forward to kind of changing, trying to like find a new job, trying to find a new lifestyle, trying to find like we changed everything. We bought a new house, we moved to Tempe with in a different neighborhood, starting a new job with a different company, and then this pandemic happens, and then what it does is just in a way it kind of forces me to slow down. Like, okay, dude, you're here right now. Um, let's deal with yourself. Let's deal with your mind because healing yourself in this way will make you a better father, a better friend, a better husband. And that's kind of what I've been working with in today. Like right now, I'm not kidding you. Well, when did we meet? Like a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was part of my healing. Like I told Sarah, it's like let's just go out to the ocean and kind of just relax and be there, so I can be a better person when I come back.
Yeah.
Because it gets to you, man. Being inside all day, even though I'm in a really comfortable place, I mean I'm thankful because I'm able to have my little office at home and I'm able to have complete control everything that I'm doing around me. Other people are not. I mean, other people are in very cramped spaces, or you don't even have the chance to find, that escape or that place where they can be quiet. Kids running around, dogs barking, da, 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 da.
Mhm.
So I'm lucky that we have found a place that allows us to kind of get that quiet time. Sometimes too quiet. Uh,
Yeah.
that to the point that I'm like, "Where's my family?"
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But in a way, yeah, I'm actually kind of enjoying this new side of me. I didn't know I was able to work from home and be alone. I was always being a social person, always been an outgoing person. I needed the energy of people. I still do.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I need that the most. I mean, I thought that work was that escape, like go out and be with people. And I realized that, hey, work is just a tool or it's part of the process, not it, right? It's not just, a lot of people live um, like work is their life. And I was like that for a long, long time until my friend passed, a coworker, and I was like, holy, like things kept going, and I realized, hold up, what am I doing? What am I leaving behind? What's my legacy? Like, what am I doing today to help create a footprint that when I'm gone, at least something. Like we were talking about creativity, we're talking about inspiration, inspired to kind of create. To me, that's kind of part of the unintentional footprint that I'm leaving behind. It's like, if I were to just not be here tomorrow and all I've done is change your sad face to a smiley face, to me, that's like, yeah, I did it. It's all about change, right? So it's all about, helping others in that way. And that's why I teach when I teach. So I guess I can tell a little bit of my background.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'm loving this.
Who is this guy? Where's he from? What are you even talking?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I love what you're sharing though. Just giving us like a real time like look at the last few years and how it's not been it's not been a cakewalk where you're just walking on rainbows. It's like some really intense things, you know, with the hurricanes, the
Oh,
hurricane in Puerto Rico, what you said, and then it's like you lost your coworker,
yep.
like all in this one year. Almost have felt like just one thing after the next.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, so I think,
No, it's powerful, man. It literally, and a lot of my close friends know that, like, know what was happening because they were there during that time.
mhm,
It was a literal physical shift that I never thought possible. Like, a lot of people talk about anxiety and depression, and they're like, in my mind, I was like, oh no, that's I can handle that. I can handle that. I've been through a lot. I've been through a
mhm,
lot, and
mhm.
I guess it's a point where the older you get, the strength you kind of depend on other things, right? Like it's like steel. The more you keep bending it, it's gonna break at some point.
Mhm.
So it was just too much. Like for a long time, so you have energy. So if you're a person like me, you're able to kind of compartmentalize things. Okay, work's here, love life's here, um, I don't know, personal life's here, blah blah blah, and then
Mhm.
you can kind of I can handle, like, with work, it's all about problem solving and creating and dealing with personalities, right?
Mhm.
Love, life, your wife, all these things are here, and you throw any issues there, I can solve these problems. But then when they start merging with each other, and then now you have a loved one, like a friend that you loved, that worked with you, gone through like these, just died, right?
Yeah.
And then the amount of stress that was happening there with my family, and the things were happening with my brother, and he's bipolar, and there's a bunch of things that were happening with him. Then you throw that, also I have a teenager, that was also going through changes,
Mhm.
and then, I mean, you keep throwing things that, at some point I was like, I don't know. I'm supposed to be fixing this here. There's a crack here. There's another one here. And there's so much stress going on that you just crumble. Like, it literally was, I can't. I give up. I give up. So I gave up. I wasn't. Sarah was worried. My wife, because I'm a smiley guy. I'm always smiling. I'm laughing. I'm like positive, and I was not. And it made me aware of the people, or when people tell you, hey, I'm not feeling well emotionally. A lot of people don't take that serious, man. It's
Yeah.
Stress is a real illness,
Yeah.
especially in America. Like, people die because of stress.
Mhm.
And if people don't take this serious, nothing. I mean, it's gonna be major. Like right now, for example, this whole COVID thing. I literally was freaking out. I was thinking that I had COVID
Okay. Yeah.
because my chest, that was like, Father's Day weekend, I remember. I
Mhm.
was having my chest compression. I couldn't breathe. Um, I'm telling Sarah, I was like, I feel like I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not, like, I have this physical pain.
Mhm.
And she said, well, go get the test. So I tested and it was negative, thank God, right? So then, but I'm like, I still feel that pain. So I went up to the doctor, and they checked, and everything was normal. The doctors say, I think you're just dealing with anxiety. And those, physical pain, it's anxiety attacks that you're getting, you just don't know how to deal with it.
Mhm.
So, we, well, one of the things he said was, people are not, like, we hear about in the news all the time about the cases, COVID this, COVID that, and everything that's happening, the economy,
Mhm.
but people rarely are not paying attention. That, like, I shouldn't say rarely. People are not paying attention to the emotional, um, crisis, or the emotional, um, strain that this is putting into people. Like, it literally is across the nation. People are just emotionally affected, being inside all day. not, dealing, not being with your friends or your loved ones, seeing your loved ones dying, just, over a monitor. I mean, like all of these things are emotionally affecting us directly or indirectly.
Mm.
Because if you're like me, I mean, I get affected by people's emotion. I'm very, like the empathy, it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyway, so she said that, and she was like, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of cases of this completely healthy people that are just going through this emotional shifting, that we just, so she recommended a bunch of things, like, that I've been doing, I've been listening to a podcast called Calm, CALM.
Okay.
It's really good.
Awesome.
Um, it has some like meditations, exercises. If you're new to meditation, it guides you through the process, how to meditate. Sleeping, I was having a hard time sleeping, so it helps you also to do some exercises before you go to bed and kind of create an awareness of your body. It guides you through a small, like a meditation or story time, where it tells you about, just close your eyes, focus on your breathing,
Mm-hmm.
and all of these things that help with anxiety.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so that, the crazy thing was that the doctor actually gave me prescribed medicine, like meds for
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. And after reading the side effects, I was like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do this." Um, and I'm nothing against it. I mean, they're proven. A lot of people are taking them and it works for them, but the side effects were something I wasn't ready to deal with. So I tried to do it without. I'm trying right now
Mm-hmm.
to deal with anxiety without the meds.
Mm-hmm.
So that's um, it's low, but it's working. I can see. Yesterday I was having like, oh, but I know it's related to stress. Like I can see the triggers now. Okay,
Mm.
what's gonna make it happen. But anyway, so yeah, helping, talking about it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
it's just fun.
Because we're all like, yeah, like you said, I mean, so many of us around the country and world are sorting through how do you, there's a lot of voices coming at us, especially if we're on our devices, right? It's
Yeah,
like, if
yeah,
like I allow myself to get on a couple like three different news websites for about 5 minutes each.
yeah, yeah,
Because if I spent an hour on those, I mean, yeah, I mean, I just think my stress levels would be rising,
yeah,
and I also like on social media because, everybody's also sharing their opinions. And so it's like, okay, I cannot scroll
yeah,
for longer than 2 minutes. And then like, and my brother said it the other day. He's like, it's okay to unfollow people.
yeah,
He was saying that to me. He's like, if something's stressing you, if you can't see their content, the person's content, it's okay to unfollow them or
yeah,
just hide them for the time being,
yeah,
which I thought was a good idea, just because, like you just described, I mean, as energy beings and as empaths, right? I
yeah,
mean, you're such an empath and
yeah,
feel people's energy so much. It's like, what can we realistically handle?
yeah,
You've got a teenager, another son, you've got and a wife, and yourself,
yeah.
it's like then you get on social media and you're seeing 123 people's opinions and
I,
feelings,
yeah.
thoughts. It's like, so
Well, I mean, it's a political year. Like you get like all
so
of that, and then people are mixing one thing with the other,
yeah,
and it's why. Like I remember
yeah,
at the peak of this whole thing, I was so curious, like how is the government going to handle this? How is our local government going to handle this? And my frustration got even worse. I was like, what in the world is happening? I mean, like, why, right? And I mean, I don't have the solution, but I am not ignoring it either. I'm not gonna just be like, oh, this is not real.
yeah.
I would like to be part of that change. And if
Mm-hmm.
I can do it just by isolating myself for a little bit, I'm doing it. I mean, honestly, we wear the mask all the time. I have my little groups that I hang out with. I wouldn't say groups, like the comic book world, the architecture world.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have like our friends in those.
Yep.
And when I meet with my friends, it'll be probably in small groups, and we are socially distancing and all of that stuff. So I feel like my little circle, it's very conscious about what's happening. And even when we met with you we visit you, we were socially distancing, and I mean we respect each other's opinion and thoughts on the matter. And but it is really really strange that how there's so many different opinions, like especially in the United States, where we should be on the vanguard, like we should be the ones telling the rest of the world, hey, this is what needs to happen, and it's just not happening. So maybe if anything, like somebody lift the carpet and be like, oh shit, you're uniting all this stuff.
Oh my goodness, right? Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely being made aware big time of if we didn't already see the divisions and the diversity in our country, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, they really think that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's definitely, it's definitely, I mean, I think that's like, I feel like that's why, I want to just keep having conversations with people, because it's like, and just get to know like I think the big thing I'm always thinking about when I'm having conversations with people maybe that have different viewpoints is like, if they bring curiosity as well and listening, like I like having conversations with people that are like, well, tell me more about why you think that, Aaron, like versus like, I'm going to tell you how it is, and this is just facts, versus like, hey, I actually would like to know why, what your thoughts are.
Well, it's the power of listening, like when you are, a lot of people forget about that, you have two of this and one of these. So use more of these, than these. And and also a lot of people are, it's rare to have a conversation with somebody where that person, it's 100% there. And I actually enjoy that, because one of the things that I like about you is that when we talk, we're there. And I try my best to be aware of that with others. I mean, again, we live in a world where you have to multitask all the time, and I mean, sometimes you're like on a call, working, and and it's just so hard to engage. So when these things happen, you have to like embrace them and enjoy them and be like, let's take a moment, pause, everybody.
Exactly.
We're here,
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling, as I'm like listening to you right now.
Yeah.
So tell me about all right, so I love who you are right now. I appreciate your vulnerability and your honesty just about what you've been walking through here the last few years, and even just here in the last few months with, kind of just addressing and paying attention, like learning some new strategies to support your own just wellness and your breath and decompression, right? Tell me like, as you look back on your years on this earth, what are some monumental either moments or realities or situations that you've lived through, walked through, that really impact how you show up today? I mean, it could be something like, I mean, you're an architect, you're a professor, this is what like architect, professor, author, like comic book author, like artist, husband, dad, great friend, right? You have all of these titles and labels, but like, how did you get here, man? How did you get here and become who you are? Like, what were there some moments that familial, whether it's familial or life in Puerto Rico, anything you want to share? What were some
my hero's journey?
What were some pieces that
my journey started in Puerto Rico? Like, so I'm born and raised in Puerto Rico. small island in the Caribbean, full of people, beautiful people. Um, and you know, I was born out of just I wasn't born in San Juan. I was born in Humacao, which is a small town on the southeast corner of the island.
Mhm.
At the time when I lived there, was about 30,000 people. It was one high school, then it became two high schools. So I mean, you kind of know everybody. So the whole concept of familiarity of being close to people, it's always been there. Um, I my mom basically raised a family of five at the time, um, by herself. Excuse me.
Mhm.
She was a
Mhm.
nurse, um, and she had to work a lot to get us going. My 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 brother, my sister, it's the oldest, and she became like a mother to all of us too because my mom had to work. So early in my life, I was exposed to the values of family, and also the tragedies of life. I lost my brother. He was killed
Mhm.
when he was 15 years old and I was 9 years old. He was basically executed. No, ex, yeah, when they shoot him in the head. He was it was drug related, from what I know. My other brother also got involved with drugs. So I grew up in the projects. Like I come from a poor background. I mean,
Mhm.
it's I wasn't my so basically my mom we had she had to live in the projects because we she could not afford to own a house or to have an expense. It was what the money came. It was to eat and
Mhm.
to live that day and get your clothing and get through with the day and
Mhm.
then move on to the next day. And so the concept of savings, it didn't exist because the money was not there.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was days where I remember not having. My mom would be like, "Today we're eating rice and an egg and a fried egg," because she
Mhm.
had to feed four or five, different mouths. Uh, so it was. I mean, emotionally, it was a very tough upbringing because I saw what drug does to you early in my life. I was confronted with life and death early in my life. So losing my brother, Pedro, was his name.
Mhm.
Um, that early in my life was or is the most, I would say, impactful event that I have, that it kind of defined who I am now. Because really early, like I remember being really young, I did not want to try drugs. I did not want to drink any of that stuff because I already knew what that does to you. Like
Uh-huh.
in a way, I kind of was exposed to the dark side of life really early. I saw a lot of friends die because of drugs.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, I'm not even gonna go there. So I focused in school. My mom and my siblings were very aware of that, and they were like, "All right, we're going to kind of coach you or guide you through this." So they were very key and kind of helped me stay focused. And then also friends. I have really close friends that had the same um, what do you out like we had the outlook. Like they were. I mean, we grew up in the same town, and we wanted to be somebody. Like we wanted to be part of something big in the future.
Mhm.
So I was a nerd, and my mom encouraged that. Like she's like, "All right, what do you need? Like, I mean, at that I'm the youngest, so
Mhm.
all the things already my brothers and sisters have done, like they have made mistakes, and they're like, guide, like we're gonna guide you through this and try to shelter you, but not so much shelter that that you're oblivious to what's going on in the world."
Totally. Totally.
So they were like, "Okay, go for it," and I learned a lot. But um, losing my brother was by far one of the things that affected me the most, to the point that it made me aware of life early when I was young. Like, this is gonna end at some point. Like I remember, and I know this is the anxieties that I was talking about earlier,
Yeah.
existential anxieties, and that I know that was one of the events that triggered that. Um, so I was like, I'm going to live every day like it's my last day. Every person I meet, I'm going to treat them like you are it. You know,
Mm.
you're here right now. And you come across a lot of people that are just so negative that, I mean, and I always give the benefit of the doubt. I always give another chance. But so far in this journey, I've met maybe 3 people that I can say, you have no, I don't want anything to do with you. Just go that way. I'm going this way because we see
Yeah.
the world completely different. Um, but I've been lucky. I mean, seriously, I've been lucky to be surrounded and be um, walking a path that is just so full of, I mean, of amazing people, and one person takes you to another, and then another, and another, um, and it's just that awareness. Like you just become aware of the universe, become aware of your surroundings, and then become aware of how important people is in your life.
Hmm.
And it's all because of that attitude. It was literally because of I I don't have much time. I mean, not that I'm not. Thank God, I'm okay. I'm healthy, and I want to live a long life.
Yeah.
But it's a short life in the big picture of the universe. It is a moment. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's like, what can I want to do everything. So that's what inspires me to. All right, I have a goal. I remember being in high school, and in the concept of architecture was unknown. So my teacher, my math teacher, she said, "Well, you like science and you like arts. Why don't you just go for architecture?" I'm like, "What is that?" And
Hmm.
she said, "All right, go to the library, open the encyclopedia. I don't know if you remember what an encyclopedia is, but it's not like Google, you know. I just go literally look at a book."
Uh-huh.
And I came across Frank Lloyd Wright and the definition of architecture at the time. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I had no idea what it was. So I go to another. So the process of entering, like going into the School of Architecture in Puerto Rico, it's very tedious because I don't know, 300 people apply. I think it was 60 make it in. Um, and I remember talking to another teacher. She was like, "Don't even apply. Don't even go there. That's for rich kids. You don't waste your time. You need to make a portfolio. I mean, there's a lot of schools already kind of training kids to go there." And I'm like, "No, I am going to make it." So I took it as a challenge.
Yes.
And so I went to my art teacher. I remember I was like, "What is a portfolio? And how can you help me make one?" And he was like, "Okay, Victor, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you on a separate track." Like he literally put me on a separate, like sat me. I was in the classroom, and he was like, "Okay, you're gonna be here doing this work." And he had like this other students doing other stuff, and I was working towards my portfolio. And that teacher was so critical into me making it into the School of Architecture because he helped me create a portfolio. So I had to show the work. So, anyways, I make it to the school, and I was the first in my high school that year, or only one that made it to architecture. But then it's not only that; it's not just, oh, you made it to school and you're done. No, this is the beginning of like
Uh-huh.
long nights, no sleep. I developed stomach problems because of stress and bad food and lack of sleep. Like a lot of people, I'm sure.
Like a lot of, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then my next goal was to make it, because the program was an undergrad, and then they force, not force you, but you get an undergrad and non-professional degree, and then uh, you got to get a professional degree in order to get to get um, to become an architect.
Yeah.
So that professional degree came with a master. So you get the option of doing masters in Puerto Rico or do it outside, or in the States or anywhere else. So I
Mm.
chose to do it in the States. I had no idea where I was going. Never been to Arizona, never lived outside of Puerto Rico. So by the way, moving from my hometown to San Juan was like a big deal. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm going to live in San Juan. You know, this is the capital and whatnot. And I was remember I'm the youngest, so I was a mama's boy. And my brothers were like, "Are you sure you can do this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this." So yeah,
Were you in a dorm in San Juan, or
yeah. So when I first moved there, I was in an apartment with
apartment?
two roommates from high school. Then
Okay.
I moved to a dorm, and then I couldn't take that, so I ended up moving back with these new friends that I have. That still my friends today. Actually, one of them came to do the master. So when we came to do the master here, it was three friends. It was Miguel, Luis, and myself. And we used to work together. And we say, hey, let's do this together. Let's just apply to the same schools, and we get selected. We go together. So we did it, and then we became the three amigos here. So during this entire time, so you know how the comic book thing comes up.
Yeah.
In high school, I was very into comic books. So I've been writing and drawing my own comic book. At
Yep.
the same time, I'm kind of working towards my career. So in the background, I'm kind of drawing. I'm like, one day I will have my own comic book. So fast forward through college, my friends, they all knew that I like, drawing this thing. I have my character and everything. And everybody joke about it. It's like, will you ever, can I get that done? And I was actually looking through some old books, notebooks, and I always sketch my little character on the side and saying things. And then fast forward to 2015, no, 2012. I'm gonna skip big time. So we moved to Turkey. Uh, this is after I met Sarah. I met Sarah in 2008, and then when the economy collapsed, that was the beginning, right? So 2011, the company I was working with, they closed, let go everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to find an opportunity of, somewhere else. So the idea of teaching abroad came to me through an old professor, where he's like, "Hey, Victor, my first name is Victor, so you know me as Javier. Everybody knows me as Javier." But he goes, "Do you like do you want to teach in Izmir?" And I was like, "Yes, but where is that?" So it was Izmir, Turkey, and we moved Sarah, and I mean Xander was like what, 1 or 2 years old. Um,
Wow.
I always forget. And so we moved. We sold our house in Arizona. We moved there, and I was teaching there full time. And when I was there, I met a guy who was teaching a drawing class for visual storytellers. So it was a comic book world, and I was like, dude, can I just sit with your students and just listen in? And so I started sketching, and the guy's like, this is amazing. You should do something about it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day when I go back to the States. So I came back. I went to a couple of local shops, and some people looked at me like, who is this guy? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And others were like, well, maybe this is what you do. They helped me, they guide me through a path. And so I came across a book called The Unnatural Talent, Jason Brubaker.
Okay.
And it was about exactly that. It was about self-publishing. It was about goals in life that you have but it was all related to, his experience with creating his books. And I remember reading the thing. I read it so fast. I emailed him, the author, and he replied. And I was like, oh my God. And then I became friends with him. But it was the act of not being shy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put myself out there. He's like, hey, dude, I feel like you wrote this. You're talking to me with your words. I'm so inspired by it. I'm gonna work on my book. So it's been actually 3 books now. I have
Wow.
here. Yeah. So I self-published this guy right here,
Wow.
um, this guy right here, and then
Mm-hmm.
this is the latest one that you probably seen. That,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all my drawing,
Wow.
so I'm doing
Wow.
everything myself. So yeah, then the funny thing is that Jason, the author,
Mm-hmm.
he writes to me. He's like, I don't know what you're doing, but my son loves your story. So his son is a fan of my comics. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so that's been happening. So that's how the, in a nutshell, kind of like how my career with the comic book things developed, or the author. But then in the meantime, remember, I have to like have the full-time job, which is
Right.
um, working as an architect, a designer. And then I also teach at ASU. So the teaching, so it was kind of like, all right, I work, then I graduated. Sorry, I graduated, and then I started teaching part-time. And I've been doing that now for about 18 years. I think it is almost 20 years. Oh my God. So and then it was the class I was teaching studio, design studio, and then I created an elective on drawing, but it's called Looking, Thinking, Sketching. So it's critical thinking in the design process using sketch or drawing as a thinking tool. So the act of meditation, the act of observation, like drawing became a tool to help you focus on that. So drawing for me then became a meditation. So a lot of people, it's a stressful experience. For me, I'm getting to the point now where it's like playing an instrument. So people just struggle through the whole process, but once you master that instrument, you can close your eyes and really enjoy the music.
Mm.
I'm at that point. Like I said, now I'm still kind of learning. Every day is a learning thing,
Yeah.
but I feel more comfortable now playing my tunes. So where at some point I was not, with my drawings, I feel like now, like if I see it in my head, I'm able to see it on, like, translate it to paper, and a lot of people struggle with that. So my class is about how do you shift your mind, so you, instead of making it struggle, you make it a joy.
Mm.
Hey, I put pen on paper. I actually am able to do this.
Mm.
Um, so it basically is like deconstructing the mind, like what we do to create an awareness, a body awareness. It's
Mm-hmm.
like as you're sitting there in front of paper, I give you a topic, you draw that. How did that feel? What did it make you think of? Like, so we make all these connections. And then it's amazing. The drawings that the students make, it's beautiful, dude. It's amazing. So yeah, that's its own thing, right? So that's
Yeah.
so that's architecture design world got me to teach in the academia, and I did, this whole thing of just sharing knowledge. Like I feel like it's part of one of my joys in life is just being able to share and learn from each other.
Mm.
In teaching, what is it? In teaching you will learn, and in learning you will teach, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
Phil Collins song. and
Yeah.
then and then my creative journey with the books, it's all part of who I am.
Mm.
So as you can see, it's like, it was an organic evolution. I didn't force any of those things. Well, they kind of happen. And then it helps that I have an amazing partner who supports that, and
Mm-hmm.
she is the backbone of the household. So she's been always kind of taking the vanguard on, like, all right, let's make sure that we are all like going in this path. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I highly respect her in that sense, because if it wasn't if you like if I having kids and having a family, it's a job in its own. So if she has taken a lot of the weight on helping on that end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of like, okay, I'll be the muscle. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna be working on, I'll be doing all these things. So the kids get to enjoy the things we have.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause when I grew up, I didn't have that. You know what I mean? I didn't have, my father was not there with me. I mean, I love my father, don't take me wrong, but that's a whole different conversation. But he, I just grew up without him.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Mm-hmm.
was not my, they were never together. And then, so not having him, my brother became my father figure.
Yeah.
And for my kids, I want to be a father figure. You know what I mean? Like I want to be there. I want to be like teaching what my brother taught me and kind of like helping guide them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard because now I also have to work. I also have to do all these other things. So Sarah, my wife, it helps me balance that
Mm-hmm.
just with the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're talking, even just as you're sharing there at the end about being a father, being a present father, like just how I feel your energy of like just how important that is to you.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. It's it is.
Yeah, those two guys are special, special.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I love him. I love him. I'm so proud, and it's one of the it's one of my biggest fears uh, to see them grow and hopefully not fear. I mean, my when I say fear, I'm like I don't want them to grow and look back and be like, who the heck was that guy? You know what I mean? Like I want to, and what even if I am not like in their faces on like oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, or
Mm-hmm.
you got to become this. I always tell them, I say to Dono, I said specifically, I say, hey man, I want you to be, I don't care what you end up being professionally. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I just want you to be a good person, a good man, a good husband, a
Mm-hmm.
good friend.
Mm-hmm.
So even if that's the only one thing,
Mm-hmm.
that he gets out of this whole thing um, in life, I'll be super happy.
Mm.
Like just
I mean, as you're talking, like, so let's say we've got some fathers or some people who are parenting. Like,
yeah.
what has been game changing for you, or what have you sought to, like, if you were to make, somebody's listening to this and they're like, partner's pregnant right now,
Oh my God.
what would be a couple, or they have a young child.
Yeah.
What have been like two or three like very important ways in which you've sought to show up, or what would you recommend? I mean, I want to be a dad at some point in the next
Yeah.
next few years.
It's a commitment. It's a commitment that, like with everything, like you chose, or sometimes you didn't choose to be. But yeah, hey, you're there now, and
Mm-hmm.
remember. So so basically, what happened? Okay, let me tell you. My upbringing. So I told my everybody, it's like I was an accident. I was not supposed to. But Sarah doesn't like when I say that, but like
Passion baby, right? We were a
yeah,
passion
but
baby.
it was a very complicated passion, baby, because just to say like this, I have a brother that it's about 3 months older than me. So my dad had
God.
two. So he lied to my mom or something. I don't know what the story is. So something happened
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it was a total accident. So my mom was a strong woman, and she decided to keep me and raise
Mm-hmm.
me and be there. Uh, I just love that she was there. And my dad is a good guy. He's a good guy, and he's just man, and he he just made a mistake, and but I didn't see it like that for a long time. As an adult now, I'm like super thankful
Mm-hmm.
um, to be able to kind of see it and visualize and almost forgive him in a way. Just could understand that why he was not there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, not being there for me was like earlier, I saw it as a challenge. Like when I become a dad, I want to be there. I want to be um, as much as I can. And it's a commitment, right? Like I said, it's a commitment with yourself and a commitment with others. So it's like going into a relationship. When you met your wife,
Mm-hmm.
or whoever's listening, the person that's next to you, husband or partner, or whatever you want to call it, you chose to be with that person. You were not born with that person. You were not, it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of either grew to love that person or kind of consciously go through that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You you choose to stop being I to become we or us.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, there's certain things that you have to kind of like level down. Be like, okay, so it's not about me all the time. It's going to be about us.
Mm-hmm.
So when you become a father or parent, because you have to think, like when I met Sarah, Donovan was 4.5, 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose, like my friends were like, dude, you went from being single to be like a full family, like just like that. It's not like it's
Mm-hmm.
gradually happened. It's just I chose to be there. And I was aware, like I was not, it's like people who adopt.
Mm-hmm.
You choose to adopt a person, a human being, and it's, you're not genetically connected,
Mm-hmm.
immediate connection, but you choose to do that and you grow into it. And it's amazing because it's like planting a little tree and then all of a sudden you see it grow. And when it start blooming, you like the joy of seeing it blooming is wow. But like that, there's struggles, there's challenges, and especially if you're a person that works a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went from being like the guy who's like, oh, look at this guy. He's leaving on time or he's leaving early, which was on time, to go with his kids and family. I mean, that's a stupid excuse, like, why are you doing that? And then to become that guy on the other end and totally understand why.
Yes.
So it was like, oh my God, like it changes you, man. Like being a parent changes who you are completely because now you're not about you. You're about, if you're doing it, if you're trying to do it right, I mean, ideally in my mind, that's what's happening. It's you're kind of letting go of yourself to now be with another human being.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing and it's frustrating too because
Mm-hmm.
you have expectations. Like your parents had expectations of you.
Mm-hmm.
You have expectations of your own child. Um, and sometimes when they don't meet those expectations, you get frustrated. But it's part of life. It's part of forgiving yourself. It's part of letting go and just take it as it comes. And it's scary, man. It's really scary because it's just the beginning. Like right now, when Donovan graduates and goes into an adulthood, he's gonna grow into a human being that I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna be their guide. You know what I'm saying? Like you just pray and hope that they do their best. It's like me right now. I'm living in Arizona. My mom, I mean, it's in Puerto Rico, and I never ever thought that I'd be here in English. My first language is Spanish. I used to think and dream and like I never spoke English in my household. And here I am with you having an interview, full on English,
Yeah.
and talk about these things. So I empathize with my mom because like, oh shit, I know her son. It's 3,000 miles away on the other side, and it's it's an everyday struggle, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So good to hear your reflections just about this parenting journey. I mean, you talked about commitment. Ultimately, like a choice you made.
Yeah.
Whether it was beginning your partnership with Sarah and then becoming Donovan's stepdad. Like
Yeah.
present
Yeah.
time dad. Like in the moment dad, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and how that's evolved. And then you and Sarah had Xander, and it's like, and just this commitment piece, you know, where you said you, as a single man, it was like, what are those people leaving the office for? I did the same thing, dude. I did the same thing when I was teaching high school. I would be like, man, are these people not committed to their work?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, even my brother, I'd be like, he's leaving at 2:30. I'm like, we just got done at 2:20.
Yeah.
Like I'm leaving at 5, you know, getting a bonus couple hours in, thinking I'm like friggin' Superman. And
Uh-huh.
here he is taking care of his partner, his
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
being a dad, you know, and it's like, I think that's, you know, that's what I hear you saying is like just the call to how can I show up in a way, you know, and it was something that, you know, was inspired by, you know, what you walked through as a child where you were like, yeah, I really, you know, I want these boys as they look back on me, they see,
Yeah.
they don't see just a workhorse, you know,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
see that, they see me pursuing my passions, but they also see me like cheering them on,
Yeah.
present with them.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
that's what I hope. That's what I hope. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing the right thing or not. I'm like, is this enough? I mean, you know, like it's. I mean, you got to be honest with yourself. Sometimes, like so I'm an artist, you know, and I'm constantly second guessing everything I'm doing. Uh, so which is another, it's a curse, right? Because it's like, you know, people's like, oh, well, you're drawing real good. I'm like, well, no, that's not good enough. Oh, you're a father. Is like, well, it's not good enough because you know, like I don't know, man. And I guess that's kind of what motivates me to get better every day and motivates me to uh, to try, to keep trying, and I hope, I just pray that that you know they see that you know it's not about just, hey, oh, we have a comfortable life. No, I mean it took a lot of work.
mm-hmm.
Everything that I own, everything that I have, it's because I work my butt off to be where we are.
Mm.
So I hope that I just helped you one step up so you can kind of, it's not easier, but it is better than what it was.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
At least
Well,
for
yeah,
me.
like that. Yeah, I mean that all the work you've put in and the goals you've set. I mean, as you took us through school and all that, it was like that was freaking amazing. Just to
Thank you.
hear that recount, you know, just of, you know, of the teacher that said, "Oh, that's not going to be your, you know,
Yeah.
that's not for you," and then the art teacher who helped you put together a portfolio.
Yeah.
Like that takes powerful young man, a powerful young man to like yourself to say, "I'm going."
Yeah.
You know, and that is, I mean, I get chills as I'm saying that because I know that there's a lot of us out there. There's people who are listening to this that are like at that point where they're like, can I, is
Yeah.
it like, can I get to that? You know, I started this program. Can I really, am I really going to get there? And I think, you know, the courageous in me, as I was hearing your story, was like, yes,
Yes. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you can get. Victor Javier got there. Aaron
Yeah.
can get there. You can get there. You know, like yet it's commitment, and it's
Yeah.
ultimately commitment. You know, nothing wonderful. You know, the three comic books you've written. I mean, you worked your buns off to make that a reality.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's still, I mean, I'm ongoing. I'm hoping to take it to the next level. And just, you know, my dream is that one day I pitch it to Netflix, right? So like, hey, what about doing, I mean, it may never happen, but it helps to have that dream. You know what I'm saying?
It's happening, man. It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening. Somebody from Netflix is going to listen to this and they're going to be like, it's happening. Let's see those. Let's
Yeah,
see.
right.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, so the story is actually it's about imagination and the power of imagination, basically. So it relates a lot to how I see life, and there's a lot. It's a kind of like in many different ways I can relate to the character because it's how to use imagination as a weapon to fight back. And in this case, the bad guys are robots or technology that is absorbing or sucking imagination out of people.
Mm-hmm.
So you're using imagination as an actual fuel, as an actual power to fight, against these machines. That lack of imagination, and because of that, they have to absorb it out of these beings or these humans. So, yeah, that's the story in a way.
Yes.
So if you're
Yeah.
Netflix or somebody out there listening, uh,
Yeah.
book me, find me on Butlines,
Yeah.
Instagram,
Totally.
follow me and check out my drawings. And
Yeah.
definitely, we could talk more about it for sure.
Totally. Totally. Oh my. Oh my gosh. All right. So, final two questions, my man. The first one is, yeah, let's go with this one.
Oh boy.
Let's go with this one. You've got a, first off, I love your dreams. I love your imagination. And I just, it's so good to hear your story. And really, you've really given us a beautiful glimpse of really the bumps, man.
Oh yeah.
I just appreciate you being honest, vulnerable with us, because I know there's most all, like, doesn't matter who's on the healing journey, like
Yeah. Yeah.
there are times where you're just like, what is going on with me right now?
Oh yeah.
And just in those tough moments, it's just, I appreciate your being so raw with us and with me, it's like continuing to remind me also to be gentle, that oftentimes, again, have those like incredible, audacious, beautiful goals,
Yeah.
and yet also like have those stress relieving habits and that perspective where you've talked about family and legacy, where
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
these are some powerful goals that I have, and the ultimate powerful goal is I choose to leave a legacy
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
imagination, about being present as a dad, about being a great husband, about being an awesome friend, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, that's what I'm hearing you say.
No, and that's it, dude. That's my mission statement. Like if
Yeah.
I actually wrote a mission statement when we were in college. I took a class with a really amazing professor, Will Haywood, who became a friend later. And
Mm-hmm.
he part of the things that we did was to write like a mission statement, um, and kind of in life, like, and then that you can use that professionally, like when you're applying for jobs, in your resume, like
Mm-hmm.
you write about who you are, like what's your mission statement in life, like right now, write it down, write a paragraph, and work it until you find out what is it, why are you here, why do you want that job, why do you want to be that podcast author or book author, or whatever they said, that whatever it is that you're doing, why, ask yourself why, and not just say I want to make money, because that's not it. That's just, I mean, for some people it is, but why? Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you want to make money, you want to be rich, you want to be famous, why, ask yourself why. So writing this mission statement, I became aware that it was about change. I want to be part of change. I want to be change. When I think about it, life is all about change, evolution. It's all about, you know, there's patterns, and there is a certain uh, kind of repetition of themes, or if you may, or moments that kind of are cyclical, but they're not cyclical. They're kind of spiral, right? They go, kind of, they look like they're repeating themselves, but they're actually at different levels. So when I think of it like that, I'm thinking, okay, well, if I'm aware of this, how can I help? If this thing is going and I'm part of it, I'm just a particle on this big cosmos, how can I be part of change? How can I help others? So I found out that just by being present, by being here, being aware, by listening, by teaching, not just teaching in a formal setup, but teaching, kids, your your children or your friends.
Mm-hmm.
But in teaching, when I say teaching, I don't mean it like as, oh, you're standing up and you're wrong, I'm right. No, it's more about learning as well. So they kind of go together. Like, okay, somebody was asking me once, like, well, do you find yourself, you think of yourself as a creative person? And I said, no, I'm more of a curious person. So curiosity allows me to find creative solutions to some issues. I don't need to be like, it's like putting a Lego set together, right? It's about how does this one goes with the other one. It's a curiosity spark. So that's the kind of learning and teaching that I'm talking about. It's like really getting to know each other, really engaging as much as possible, and just being aware of it. And I think that helps you with your, at least for me, it's helped me with my what do you call it? When you say gut feeling, it's um, intuition. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Yeah.
my intuition, and in fine tuning your intuition, then you start kind of finding little lights. Like, oh wow, I'm gonna follow that light, and then you follow the other one, and it's because like you like your curiosity is allowing you to exercise your imagination like a muscle, and then your imagination is fueling your intuition, and then all you are doing is just connecting the dots as you go, and then next thing you know, you're like surrounded by these array of beautiful people and beautiful things that just help you define who you are. In a way, they say that you are, like, if you look at your five closest friends,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of are a sum of all, right? Like your judgment is kind of based on, so kind of analyze who are your closest friends, and are they like who you want to be? The sum of all of them. Are they helping you getting, making yourself a better person?
Mm.
Um, so that's critical and important. Not that you're gonna shut down, some people that are struggling. It's
Mm-hmm.
more like you want to be aware of what are they contributing to your life, and how
Mm-hmm.
are you contributing to their life. And there has to be a balance, because sometimes you're doing all the work and they're not doing anything. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
kind of keep that balance?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's just a struggle, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I love how you're sharing that, though. I mean, what a great reminder to all of us, myself, anybody listening, about just the mission statement piece of like how powerful that can be,
Oh yeah.
just in getting really clear, getting really curious. I hear you also just saying, like, get curious, like what is it? Yeah, get curious about what's inside that you really want to express or whatever, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
anyway, so just as I'm hearing you, it's like, get really clear, like and that's really helped you
Yeah.
create what you've created thus far, and co-created with friends and with your wife and with your family. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's that curiosity, it's that and those goals,
Yeah.
it's that. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What's okay, so last so room full, you got 20,000 people in the building, you got 20,000 people in the building. They've showed up because they saw your Netflix special. They saw your Netflix special featuring your characters and your comic books, and they're like, this guy's got some wisdom that I need to drop into, and they're just like, literally, they're pumped to hear what you're going to share, and you're going to just give them three pieces.
Oh wow.
You're just going to give them three pieces and say, like, hey, as you're looking at your life, as you're looking at this present moment, as you're looking at your future, and as you're reflecting on your past, like, these are three things that I think are uber critical. And again, realizing we're all unique, but still, like we want to know what your three, like, go-to answers are. What are three things that are so crucial Because who knows? Maybe I want to apply one of your three or two of your three into my
Yeah.
world, into my life.
So I just can see it like this, like a triangle.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Work, discipline, respect. Work, discipline, respect.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in that order,
Mm-hmm.
but if you are a person that has a good discipline, that means you respect yourself and you respect others,
Mm-hmm.
and that gets reflected in your work. If you, when I say work, you can you can put in there whatever it means to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working and you're working hard, hopefully you are doing it with a discipline, and you kind of are following you through. You're consistent to your goals. That shows respect. You're respecting your work. If you're a disciplined person, that means you're aware, like you're aware of the moment. Um, you're using your work. Notice that I'm not saying job. Work. It's whatever you. It's whatever motivates you to kind of get up in the morning and walk and do something. Whether it is just going, you're working on yourself, or you're working on something that it's the next David or whatever, a sculpture. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't necessarily have to be a creative outlet, but my point is that work right there, because of your discipline, um, just kind of respect. It shows, like, how respectful you are to yourself and to everybody else. So in a way, that's kind of how I go with everything, because there's a couple of things that influenced me. One, it's this guy who talks about finish, not perfect. His name is Jake Parker. He's a YouTube influencer and an artist.
Mm-hmm.
He has like over 500,000 followers, and I met him. It's a great guy. I like him a lot. But finish, not perfect, allows you to kind of finish, put yourself some goals. Like, don't say, oh, I want to write the next novel. Oh, it's frustrating because it's a big goal, right? So if you say, I'm going to write a page, a chapter or a page in like the next month, when you finish, you feel that you accomplished something, and that's addictive. It's like, oh my God, I did it, right? And so I have some goals that I still haven't accomplished, and it's in the back of my head, and I know I need to get them done. Um, so I know I'm gonna get there, but it is it's about that. It's about staying focused on just the experience and the awareness of, like, I'm going to accomplish little goals at a time. It's not about the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, also just being exposed to that early and being aware of, like, of myself in the sense of who I am in the bigger picture, right? Like being Latino, uh, Puerto Rican, uh, learning about the history of who I was or who I am, like how my culture is related to the United States, how, like, I communicate, how I talk. Um, these are things that make me aware of, like, okay, hold on a second. It's not about the messenger, it's about the message. So, like, I was just telling somebody the other day, I was like, listen, you can talk all day about a topic and say that you are the expert on it. But if your work, it's not there to back up that, it means nothing. So for me, I became very much aware of that, because for me, drawings became my subtitles. Like, people, because of my accent, some people could not understand exactly what I was saying. So I had to use my drawings to tell the stories. So it allowed me to craft my work better and better and better. So it was more to the point and more clear when I put my work out there. So that's the kind of energy and effort that you should be putting into things. Like, literally is um, care for your craft, care for your brand. Your brand is who you are. Those are the things that nobody can take away from you. They can take away physical things, money. They can take away your house. They can take away whatever. But who you are in the core, like after you define that mission statement and you find out, okay, Aaron is this person and it's about this. This is why. And I'm going to show you through my work. I'm not even going to talk. Just look at that and you judge for yourself. Then what you immediately go, well, I got to make it better. I got to keep making it better because that's my brand. That's who I am. So if you're working on your brand, define it, who you are, and just make it better. Make it better. And it just one day at a time. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have a dream. No, let's make that dream come true now because it is possible. I'm living a dream. I remember, I go back, it feels like it was yesterday when I was dreaming about publishing my own comic book or designing a building that gets built, that is part of a skyline in the city, like a foreign city, like living abroad and being able to see ancient, sculptures or ancient buildings. I mean, these were dreams of a little kid in the projects. I never ever thought I'll be able to experience. And here I am today, sharing those stuff with you, and like dreaming about bigger pictures, like bigger things, right? And if you're listening, I think that's kind of, you got to remember or remind yourself of those things. Like, okay, pause. There's a lot of noise. What is it? And you would say, I don't know. I mean, some people say, I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am. But kind of seek guidance. Look for help, talk to others, read books, listen to podcasts, find outlets or find I would say tools that could help you define who you are, and not try to all of a sudden sit there and be like enlightened, like, oh no, it's a work in progress. I'm telling you, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. These are the moments that help us kind of like, okay, how can I work and get better? Because that's your brand and that's what you want to work on, right?
So amazing. Yes, man. Yes. I can't. I don't need to chime anything else onto that. I mean, the thing that one phrase that jumped out was, it's about the message. Sometimes we get so lost in being the messenger or whatever, but it's like the message, like, right? I feel like when I'm focused on the message, like being the messenger, it's so egoic. It's so like, hey, everybody, I'm Aaron Lehman. It's like, and it's like, but if I focus on the message, this just like fades into like unity. It's like, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's about the message. The message is unity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love, anyway, just beautiful calls right there to all of us, just the little steps, the goals.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight. If you're not sure what that why is or that vision is, like dive into, connect with people, read some books, explore these tools, try out some of these other tools, these modalities that can like spark that in us, right? Because sometimes it can get so pushed down.
Yeah.
And you said all the noise coming at us, it can get really pushed down. And so I just appreciate that reminder that to utilize those tools to kind of call that out in us. Because sometimes it can get a little like, you got all these responsibilities.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, I know what my soul's voice is talking. The spirit's in there. Like,
are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I really, really appreciate you carving some time to allow me to join you here. And I think what you're doing, it's an amazing thing. It's the beginning of something. And I can see it. I think allowing people to share their stories and put their voices out there, it's such an important thing. And if anything, you have become some sort of a shepherd, right? Or like a guide to allow like these these things to happen, these collaborations and these exchange of information and ideas and energy and love. I mean, it is so important. We need this. So it is a big responsibility too,
Mhm.
because you're that conduit to help spread a message. And
Mm.
um, I am so happy to be here. I'm so glad that we get to share
Dude,
this, man. And it just feels like a conversation, like we always do. This is just how we always are.
totally,
So
totally.
I really appreciate it. And I
Oh
hope
man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And those people who want to connect with you, you said it earlier, but on Instagram, VOD Lines.
Plot lines, yeah, VOD.
And we'll make sure we have that here on the on the video, YouTube video, and I'll make sure I post it everywhere so
Awesome.
people can connect with you.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're doing one-on-one art coaching or
Oh,
one-on-one
I'll do it.
creativity.
Actually, I'm teaching. There's a kid. I'm doing that.
How are you?
I'm very selective because it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, totally.
but I am doing it. A friend of mine reached out and talked to me about his son, and so I've been on the weekends and Sundays. I've been spending an hour with Sergio, and I've been teaching him. We've been kind of drawing together. So
Yeah.
I do the one-on-ones. It's very rare though.
I could imagine I could imagine you having 40 people join from around the world
That'll be awesome.
just to listen to, I mean, what you're talking about, the classes you've been teaching, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh
That's
man,
that's my
I bet there's
passion.
people that would just love to drop in and have some guidance from a
Absolutely.
legit amazing
Yeah, yeah.
professor, academic, like talent, so anyway, those of you who caught this, definitely connect with Victor Javier Irizarry on VOD Lines and Instagram. And again, thanks for joining us here on episode 13. Really, really grateful for you joining us. And if you have feedback or questions, either connect with me, connect with Victor. Let's keep the dialogue going, knowing that we're not alone on the journey, and that we can continue to just encourage each other and remind each other that the courageous work is worth it. That it is worth it. That we have a communal. It's like a communal call.
Yeah.
Like a communal call to like keep doing it. I know it's sometimes I just want to throw on Netflix too, and just get lost, right? We just want to get lost sometimes, but like, let's keep doing it. Let's keep calling each other, and walking strong together. So thank
Yeah.
you for joining us.
Thank you.
Javier, really grateful for you and your voice and
Yeah.
and who you are, man. I'd just be really proud of myself. If I were you, like looking in the mirror and looking at the life you've co-created with the earth and with those beautiful people around you, like I would be in awe. I would be really excited and know that you're freaking I just think you're amazing. So
Thank you so much, brother. Thank
all
you.
right. Thanks. That's the end of episode 13. Love y'all.